Horizon Channel, Reacts, and this is Why Did Russia Sell Alaska to America? By channel History Matters. Yeah, okay. If I remember correctly, I mean, obviously, I've been reacting to history videos since past 2 years since I started this channel, I guess. So I don't know, I might be mixing this up, but I'm pretty sure the reason was, I guess Britain recently defeated Russia on something, right? There was a war, I don't remember, a war or something between, there was a conflict between Russia and Britain, right? And Britain kind of defeated Russia, and Russia was desperate for resource money. And also, there was a case of like, it was really hard to defend Alaska. Russia is pretty big already. Now, consider Alaska to it. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to defend that, right? I mean, if you've seen all the different empires' history, the biggest issue most empire faces is how to keep a giant landmass empire, right? I mean, every conqueror usually come across this issue, like how am I going to keep all this thing, or how I'm going to defend all these things. And Russia is already way too big, and now Alaska to it, yeah. And also with the Alaska thing, right? You see this Alaska basically, you know, touching Russia like this, and you just feel it's like this horizontal thing. It's not. This is a 2D map, right? This I was stunned when I saw this in a 3D globe, that Russia goes from here and goes, this area goes to the top and it connects to here. It's at the top, right? So this is really close to the, I guess North Pole, right? So this thing is not going sideways, is from here is curving to the top, and Alaska is actually at the top. Hence why there is a lot of time in Anchorage, right? It never goes night, and other time of the year it's never daytime because of that, right? So that was surreal to me. But if you factor all these things, like Alaska is like, why would they keep it? Obviously Russia didn't know at the time, right? This was a long time ago that Alaska was going to have a ton of oil, right? Oil or gas is something like that, which was very profitable for USA, and USA bought it for close to nothing at that time, right? So for USA this was a really profitable deal. For Russia, not so much. But yeah, even at the time, right, even if they knew about the oil, they probably would have sold it off, because at the time they needed money and it was really hard to defend Alaska. And USA bought it because I think, if I remember correctly, Britain, obviously having Canada under them, right, was looking to buy Alaska, and Britain recently, I guess, defeated Russia. So there was US already at the advantage. Like if USA wanted, it's USA's, because it's like sticking to Britain or something like that. And USA bought it just to, I guess, stick to Britain, right? So they can have these two places while Britain has Canada or something. But yeah. So let's watch it. I love History Matters. History Matters always cover complex topics in 3 or 4 minute time, and it's always funny with all the animation and shit. So let's watch it.
In late 1867, Alaska was transferred from the ownership and dominion of the Russian Empire to the United States of America. It was sold for the princely sum of $7.2 million, and for most it's just a footnote in history. A question that should be asked is, why did Russia decide to sell its overseas colony?
Money.
Furthermore, why did it sell it to the United States, and why not, say, Britain or some other colonial power? So the primary reason for the sale of Alaska was Russia's defeat in the Crimean War.
Crimean War,
had done several things. The first was that it had largely bankrupted Russia, which was struggling to repay the debts it had racked up in order to fight the war. The second was that the victories of the Royal Navy over the modernising Russian Navy had made it clear that Russia had a long way to go before it could challenge Britain at sea. As such, it was realised by the Russian leadership that should another war break out, there was little to stop Britain from simply conquering the territory via Canada. So what type of territory was Alaska? For a start, it wasn't called Alaska at the time, but simply Russian America. And for the Russian Empire, it provided several things. First of all was the prestige that came with owning an overseas territory. As for its economic benefits, Alaska was a much more mixed bag.
So it was like it was like a VIP thing, right? Anybody's like, up in India, obviously, it's like if you have a home in Europe or USA, it's like, I'm a VIP. I guess in America it would be like, somebody owning a extra house or summer house in Europe or something. So it was like that for Russia. I'm American Russia.
Combined with the cost to protect it, you can see why the sale was seen as necessary. Incidentally, the sale of Russian America was broached by Emperor Alexander II's brother, the Grand Duke Constantine, who wanted to strengthen and liberalise the empire in the wake of the defeat in the Crimean War. It didn't take much to convince the emperor to agree to the sale, but now the question was, to whom? Well, Britain was an obvious contender, given that its North American lands were already attached to Russian America, and they already had the right to navigate its waters and trade with the colony. So why didn't they sell to Britain? Well, Russia and Britain were imperial rivals, and to give Britain a large coastline so close to Russia was potentially dangerous. Also, Britain wasn't interested, since Canada is already huge and Britain had enough access to the Pacific Ocean. Thus, the United States of America was really the only...
That's interesting. I didn't know that Britain wasn't interested. Wouldn't that be like sticking to Russia if Britain is, I guess, defeating Russia at the time, right? In the naval areas. So wouldn't it be really beneficial if they had control of Alaska just right there next to Russia, not having this massive territory? I don't know. I guess they basically saw it and saw like, oh, fuck me, it's like near North Pole, everything's fucking frozen. Right? Even today I saw some documentary in Discovery Channel or whatever that showed that there are not many roads in Alaska. It's mostly like a train or, I guess some plane or something like that, right? Because it's so hard to do it. It's so much ice there.
Only likely candidate for the purchase. Russia had approached the US in the early 1860s concerning the purchase, but they were undergoing this little-known event called the American Civil War and so were a bit busy. After the war was settled and the US had to deal with the issues of Reconstruction, the purchase of Alaska was seen as a useful distraction. The Russian Empire was also keen to keep up the ongoing good relations with the Americans, because as an ally they would be useful. It was agreed in March 1867 between the governments of the US and Russia that Alaska would be bought, but how did they come up with the price? Well, Russia had sent a team of surveyors to look for things like natural resources and to see how good life in Alaska was. And it was determined that Alaska was worth about $10 million. However, the surveyors argued that Alaska shouldn't be sold at all and that the governance of it simply be reformed. The emperor ignored this and both sides negotiated until the sum of $7.2 million was agreed. In October 1867 it was transferred to America and Russia's attention would thereafter be focused to the south and to the...
I can already imagine the negotiation. Yeah, we need 15 million for it. Yes, 6 million. What you talking about? We're talking about 15 million. Okay, 12 million, 6 million. It's a massive land. Yeah, there are bears and ice there, nothing more. All right, let's, not your nor mine, 7 million. Yeah, all right.
The West. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for watching, with extra thanks to my patron, Wicker Wood.
Yeah, and afterwards, after years or century later, they realize, oh, what the fuck, there's oil there. I'm pretty sure I'm not mixing that up, right? I'm pretty sure there were lots of deposits of oil in Alaska, right? Yeah. Damn. Yeah, it was Sarah Palin who said that I can see Russia from my doorstep or something, just implying that Alaska is very close to Russia. Yeah. Which is ridiculous when you think about it, right? I mean, it's literally connecting Russia and Alaska just, with a small portion. Years ago, before the Ice Age, during the Ice Age, the two landmass actually connected, and I guess that's how the people actually went to the Americas in the first place, right? And got cut off later on, which is fucking real. That makes it very important point, right? The gap between Alaska and Russia, that's a pretty fucking important point. If I were to go on a world tour, I would definitely visit that point. I wouldn't let's just go to the metropolitan cities of the world. Okay, that is that. I will also go to these important points in the world. But yeah. Alright, well, that was why did Russia sell Alaska to America? Yeah, because reasons. My channel History Matters. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.